Hey tubes, JD1533 here. It's been a while since I've uploaded anything, and quite frankly, what I did upload was terrible. You know, I had a terrible video quality on the last phone that I had, which was an Android, and I stepped up to the Apple iPhone. I think it's a much better tool to use, and just want to get you up to date on new projects that are going on and try to set aside some time to share it with y'all. You might remember this, late 40s Clinton. Really like this motor. It's missing some parts. The front shroud, fuel tank, and some governor linkage over here. But some people gave me some ideas for part sources for this, and actually a buddy of mine had a big stash of Clinton parts, which he sold, but he knows who has them. So he said he can come through for me and we'll find these parts to do that. So put this aside. What we're going to be doing is this Toro recycler engine, 5 horsepower. This was a trash pick. You know, this thing is beautiful. It's a beautiful mower, but the engine was obviously burning a lot of oil. Just going to show you something here. I don't know if you can see this, but we're going to try to get it in view. But the carbon deposits in here are kind of like granola down in here and all. I never saw anything like that before. I'm not a professional. This is like an amateur hobby for me doing the engines. But I've decided to take the whole thing apart just for fun because it's a hobby. And we'll try to clean it up and do something about this bore. There is a groove in there I don't like. Maybe it's not salvageable. That's okay. We're going to do the best we can with it because it was free anyway. So before I put it all back together, we'll take the head gasket, and we'll do a compression test, see if we have compression. You know, if we have decent compression and we can run this thing, I'll put it back together, and then we'll replace stuff like this, where, I don't know, the primer bulb, somebody fixed it with RTV silicone. It's not even hardened. It's like number 2, the stuff that doesn't harden, the non-hardening stuff. It's crazy. Got our transmission here to go through. Now back here, this is interesting. Another little project for the fall. The fall's coming up, leaf season. This I saw driving down the road. There was a house clean out for a house sale. This was out for trash. You know, it's a Stihl leaf blower. Of course, I stopped to pick it up. It turns and it has compression. Other than that, I can't tell you. I haven't done anything with it, but if there's anything wrong with it, it's probably a carburetor thing, because like I said, it seems to have good compression. So we're going to look into this, and this could be fun. I've got a monster leaf blower already, but you know, this would be nice. All right, looking over here, here's a new acquisition. If I can come over here real quick. This is a 5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton engine with gear reduction that came off a rototiller. I got this for 10 bucks, and I thought, it's mostly complete. Why not? You know, why not give it a whirl? The plan for it is just to restore it all the way and get it sold. Someone can put it on a rototiller. We're not going to put a ton of money into it, but some of you might think, hey, try to do a cold start on it, try to get it running. I would, other than the fact that when I took off the oil, you know, the oil cap here to check the oil, a geyser of water and oil came out. So that means the water level was higher in the case. This thing was filled with water. That's not good, but it's not the end of the world either. So I'm not just going to try to spin it and start it. We're going to have to get in there. There's no major damage on the fuel tank, no dents. A couple little surface dents here. You know, this could be a fun project. We can strip it down, paint it, get some decals, practice for something bigger. If we can't get the exact 5 horsepower decal, we can use something else. If we can't get this exact Briggs & Stratton decal here, we can get something close. It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, everything's pretty much here. There's some springs and all missing from the carburetor, but I mean, everything else is here. It's in surprisingly good shape. You know how fuel tanks are. We don't know what we're looking at here, but I don't see any problems. And so that's where we're at with that. Let me get the workbench cleaned up so we can get into tearing this engine down and talking a little bit more about the transmission. See you in a few. All right, A-tubes, we're back. I cleaned up the workbench a little bit, but I left the leaf blower and the tiller engine here. They're not bothering me. I'm pretty sure they're not going to bother you either. I said we talked about the transmission real quick for this lawnmower. And basically I took it apart because it was filled with water. But there's a lot of grease in there. We're going to clean all that out. I left it together because when I clean it, you know, I'm going to pay attention to how it came apart. So I put it back together that way. We've got one plastic piece. And fortunately it's not broken. It's in good condition. That goes there. And you can see how much grease they have packed in there. I don't know if that's the right way to do it or not, but we got to clean all that out and redo it. Now here's the gears that fit into here for the transmission on the axle. So likewise, we'll take a lot of special care in cleaning this and taking this apart. For right now though, we're not that far along, so I'm going to move this out of the way. Get this out of frame. We got a little plastic lid here, a little plastic lid for when we take the sump off. We're going to have residual oil drips and all that, so we'll get it on here. And, you know, I want to get this pulley off. We can get the flywheel off and all that, but I want to get this off first. And then the flywheel, and then maybe we'll time lapse the rest. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. The thing with these is you don't want to put penetrating fluid and WD-40 and all that there. You need a puller. Now, my 3-jaw puller, I can't find it. So I can't bring myself to buy another one because I know it's around somewhere. So I bought this $10 job from the auto parts store. It's actually a pretty perfect fit. And I think it'll be enough to pull this gear off and pull that key out. The way we're going to give it some help is a little bit of heat. So we're going to get out the old blue wrench. Now I don't mean oxyacetylene, I mean straight up propane. And who doesn't like a little fire in a project? But before we do that, when I go to put this back together, if it gets to that level where we're going to put it back together, I'm going to need some reference of how far to press this back on. So I'm just going to scribe along here carefully. I'm going to ride the edge of this pulley with this cheapo razor thing. And we're going to scribe a basic line. It's not going to be obvious, but if we go too far when we press it on, we'll know to back it out a little bit. It's just a little reference point. So now the idea is going to be, you know, just a cheapo propane torch. We're going to heat this up gently, and the idea is to get, you know, a couple thousandths of clearance, just to give it a little help. Then we'll pull the puller on. Hopefully it slides right off without too much complaints. So that's all, a little persuasion. So here we go, shall we? All right. There we go. So I'm gently going to start heating this. tubes, what happened is we ran out of travel on the puller. We're at the full extent. We're right at the end. So, you know, take our old brass hammer. This is hot. There we go. There it is. Now, this is really hot. I reheated it again, actually. There's a key in there. Ow, 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 ow. Okay. I don't think we're going to do it this way. Let's see if I can pick it up maybe like that and show you. You see the key? See the key in the keyway? We don't want to lose that. So that's going to come out. But for now, we're going to cool it down. I'm going to put it on top of this vise to cool it down. And, you know, if I touch the shaft, that's not hot. It's just warm. All right. So there we are with that. When we go to do the sump, I think there's 7 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, should be 7. You know, if you're doing something like this and you take them all out and it gives you too much resistance taking it off, look for another bolt. Maybe you missed one. Interesting thing with the sump, you have these fins under here because it's a thin casting. They serve a couple purposes. Obviously to add strength, but these fins also dissipate heat because the oil's hot down here. And it's part of the cooling system, just like the fins up here. But you guys knew that, so we'll move right along. And we'll come around to here. And let's work on getting this flywheel off. Okay. All right. And we might go to time lapse because this video is getting really long. So let's see about that. All right, everybody, just a quick recap. The flywheel is off. Starter cup, flywheel. I was filming this for your benefit, but it gave me a hard time. And I deleted the footage because there's a right way and a wrong way to do this. On older engines, the wrong way is fine. You get away with it. You know, you kind of have brass hammer. You're tapping here with the nut on it. Little lever behind it. Usually always cracks loose. On these more modern engines, you know, this is pretty thin casting of aluminum. This is pressed on there pretty good. At least this one was. What you're supposed to do is get the flywheel puller kit. And what it does is, these are blind holes. It will actually tap and thread these holes in the kit. And you'll have a puller, and it will gently back this off. Because these are pressed on like a bear. I mean, usually a few taps, couple taps, these things pop off. This one gave me a fight. And there's no damage. I didn't do any damage. I got the key right here. You know, there's no damage. I did it with care, but, you know, it was kind of butch, you know, the way I was hitting on it. Use a brass hammer on here and pry bar behind there to kind of tap it loose. So, no damage, but I don't condone it. Really, with these modern engines, like I said, you know, get the flywheel puller. I'm actually going to invest in one because I did not like the way this went. But on older engines, they usually tap loose really fast. It's getting late tonight. I'll probably return on this tomorrow. You know, maybe to do it in real time, maybe a time lapse. I don't know, but that's why you didn't see this come off that way. So, all right, everybody, be back tomorrow on this. And we're back. You like that little intro? Actually, it's a different day now. And the one thing I realized about the project on this is we've used up a lot of time. I have to take off the air cleaner, carburetor assembly, intake manifold, then split the case, take off the cap for the connecting rod so we can remove the crank, then the piston and rod assembly, so we can actually evaluate this engine further. It's a free engine, there's no reason to do this, but it's just a hobby, it's fun, so we're going to do it. Since I used up so much time, I thought I would skip through this and just get it down to the basic block for everybody. But I got to thinking that maybe you want to see all this stuff. So better we do it on another episode. This one's getting long, so good night, good day, wherever you are. JD1533, and I'm out.